Let me know when you're going live, brother. We're live right now? Right now? Like we're on the air? I'm just kidding. I want to just do that. What's going on, guys? It is JR from 99.5 QYK. Tuning in. We love bringing you exclusive content like this, and we're very excited to have a Florida boy on the stage. Yeah. He is not the backup quarterback, even though he has the exact same name as the one for the Buccaneers. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Griffin.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, JR. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you guys so much for showing up and hanging out. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Ryan Griffin. As he said, I'm a Florida boy. I got salt water in my veins. I moved to Nashville a little while ago, but I'll tell you that story. So for me, you know, it all started down in South Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Davie area, and I was crammed in between my two older brothers and my mama's station wagon, and Mama always played DJ. And so she kind of determined the soundtrack of my childhood, and she loved Vince Gill, and she loved Ronnie Dunn, and Colin Ray, and George Strait. George Strait, there's nobody that can tell a story like George. So I always say, Vince taught me how to sing a song, and George taught me how to tell it. Oh, the lonely sound of my voice calling is driving me insane. And just like rain, the tears keep falling, and nobody answered when I called your name. Oh, nobody answered when I called your name. So that was the first song I ever learned. And, you know, I kind of fast forward to middle school a little bit, and a lot of my peers and friends and stuff were getting into some other type of music, some R&B, and my brothers and I would pool all of our money together, and we'd go to the local record shop. It was called Peaches. And we would start in the country section and see what came out new on Friday, and then we'd wander over to the rock section, and then, you know, I'd kind of sneak away and go over to the R&B section, and I discovered, you know, Usher and Boyz II Men and Casey and JoJo, and there was this one record I ran across. It was a Brian McKnight record, Anytime, and that record changed my life. I would sit in my little middle school room with my boombox and 3-disc player, and I would just wear that record out. And so this was one of the first songs that got me through, actually got me through my first heartbreak. It's called Anytime. Yeah. So do I ever cross your mind? Anytime, yeah. Do you ever wake up reaching out for me? Do I ever cross your mind? Anytime, anytime. Oh, I miss you. Oh, said baby, I miss you. I said, baby, I miss you. Thank you. So right around that time, I graduated middle school. Mom and Dad were like, yo, guess what's up? We're moving to Ocala, Florida. And I'm like, what? And so we move up to Ocala. I'm kicking and screaming, you know, going from Fort Lauderdale where, you know, I say I have salt water in my veins because every weekend we went down to the Keys and we went fishing. We had a place down in Islamorada, and it was just like we were living the dream. So they uprooted me, took me to Ocala. If you know anything about Florida, guys, which you all do, you get above Orlando and it turns into like rural Georgia. So we had a 20-acre farm, horses, cows, the whole shebang. And, you know, it was a really good lesson for me, and it ended up being the best move for me musically because I became like I went from being a small fish in a very big pond in Fort Lauderdale and kind of did the big fish, small pond thing in Ocala and got to kind of be the kid that sang in Ocala. And I would always open for whatever act was coming in and playing like the 4-H club or, you know, anything that I could go, any stage I could jump on, I went and jumped on and just learned how to sing to a crowd. And I'll never forget the first stage I jumped on. It was a flatbed trailer that was used for hay, hauling hay, and I was opening for Neil McCoy. And that's when I realized I'm allergic to hay because my voice shut off and closed up. And my dad was the sound guy, so I blamed it all on him. Thank you. Thanks, Dad. But right around, my senior year, junior year of high school, I was running late for school as usual. And I'm going down our quarter-mile driveway, and this song comes on the radio. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. I hit the brakes, put the car in park, turned the radio up, closed my eyes, and listened to it. And I realized in that moment, I was like, I always wanted to be a country music artist, singer, songwriter, but I didn't know if I had a place in Nashville. And so when I heard this song, I was like, I'm going to Nashville. I got to find a way. I woke up early this morning around 4 a.m. with the moon shining bright as headlights on the interstate. I pulled the covers over my head and tried to catch some sleep, but the thoughts of us kept keeping me away. See, ever since you found yourself in someone else's arms, I've been trying my best to get along, but that's okay, there's nothing left to say. So take your records, take your freedom, take your memories, I don't need them. Take your space and take your reasons, but you'll think of me, yeah. And take your cat and leave my sweater, 'cause we got nothing left to weather. In fact, I feel a whole lot better. You'll think of me, you'll think of me, yeah. Oh, baby, you'll think of me. So I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to Nashville. And they said, cool, what college are you going to? And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to go to college. And so I got into Belmont University. The craziest thing is like when you go to Belmont, it really ties you into the community through the internship program. So I got an internship at Broken Bow Records, which was a fairly new label at that time. And there was this dude, I was in the mailroom, shipping out CDs and stuff and to radio stations. It's back when they used to actually ship CDs to radio stations. And this kid would walk in all the time. I call him kid, but this guy would walk in, and it was Jason Aldean. And so he'd come over and he'd be like, hey, Griff, what's up? And we'd chat. And one day he came in and he goes, hey, Griff, I need some extra hands. I'm playing the biggest show of my life. And he was playing Billy Bob's in Texas. I think he's played a few bigger shows, if I'm not mistaken, since then. But so I went out on the road with him, and I loved it. I realized that I could learn so much more on the road, on the streets, getting that street smart than I could in textbooks. So I ended up staying out on the road with him for 8 months and just learned from the bottom up. Ended up becoming his tour manager and have so much appreciation for everything that happens behind the scenes, all the people that make it happen. And so I decided at some point, I was like, yo, I want to be behind the mic, not behind the scenes. And I went back to school, finished my degree, but right before I finished my degree and I graduated, I went to this apartment party. It's one of the last parties I went to in college. And I walk in, I still remember it was 37D. It was a Thursday. I walk in, and I hear this girl laughing over on the couch. She's got a ball cap on, and she's sipping out of a Solo cup, and I was like, I got to go meet this girl. So I go over, I sit down, I build up the courage. I ask her for her number. She gives it to me, thank God. And we end up becoming really close and great friends. And I was like, okay, we're getting to the stage where we can label this thing. And then she calls me one night. And she goes, Ryan, I got to talk to somebody about this. There's this soccer player that I've really been into lately. And I'm like, no, this is not the way it's supposed to go. I got friend zoned. Well, anyways, I took her down to Florida, down to the Keys. She met my family. And fast forward, we've been married 10 years and have 2 kids. And ended up wooing her. I knew if I brought her to the family, I'd win her over. So
and nobody plays soccer.
And none of my kids play soccer. But anyways, when I'm sitting in a writer's room, I'm always trying to think of songs and experiences that I can turn into a song that I feel like is super relatable to a lot of people. And so I took that experience of this, dude that was kind of stringing my wife along, or my friend at that time, I should say. And she was calling me, and I was in love with her, and she was calling me complaining about another dude. So I was like, hey, I'm going to write a song called Love Don't about it. It's this one. Bet you're wiping off your lipstick, slipping out your heels, unzipping your dress. I can hear the TV on in the background, that bottle of red in your voice. When you say you're falling off the deep end, he's everything you've ever needed. But you call me up when he let you down, and damn, we've been talking a lot. 'Cause love don't leave you all alone, waiting by the phone, hoping that it's gonna light up on a Friday. Love don't text you from the back of a last call cab saying you up, I'm in your driveway. Call it a late night fling, maybe too many drinks, lonely doing what it does, yeah. You can call it whatever you want, but if you're thinking about calling it love, don't. You're talking about him like he's a one. Your mama thinks he's an answer to a prayer. You make it look like he got what everybody wants, but you only tell him what you want him to hear. 'Cause love don't leave you all alone, waiting by the phone, hoping that it's gonna light up on a Friday. Love don't text you from the back of the last call cab saying you up, I'm in your driveway. Call it a late night fling, maybe too many drinks, lonely doing what it does, yeah. You can call it whatever you want, but if you're thinking about calling it love, don't. No, baby, don't. Oh, baby, you should know by now. You should know by now, yeah. Oh, baby, you should know by now. If you don't know by now, love don't leave you all alone, waiting by the phone, hoping that it's gonna light up on a Friday. Love don't text you from the back of a last call cab saying you up, I'm in your driveway. Call it a late night fling, maybe too many drinks, lonely doing what it does, yeah. You can call it whatever you want, but if you're thinking about calling it love, don't. No, baby, don't. Thank you, guys. So I'll tell you, we don't have enough time for me to tell you the other 8 years in between there of the Nashville story. I'll tell you all, I've had a couple deals in town. I've had a couple disappointments. And it's been the craziest ride of my life. The last one was at the end of the pandemic. I was signed to Warner Brothers. We were going into 2020 and going into 2021, actually, and they were like, you're going to be the artist for Warner Brothers. Pandemic still goes on. I get a call at the beginning of, I guess it was 2020, and then 2021 I get the call, and they basically say, hey, man, pandemic, I'm sorry, we're cutting 5, and you're on the chopping block. And I was like, well, there goes my music career. Nobody's going to touch me in town with a 10-foot pole. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? And so I turned to my wife, and we have 2 kids at this time, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta provide some stability, so what do you want to do? And she goes, I don't want you to change a thing. She's like, you were made to do music, and we're going to support you 100%, and you need to keep grinding. And I was like, all right, that's all I needed to hear. And so I started throwing some music up on social media, on TikTok and stuff. And my wife comes screaming in the bedroom, and I'm sleeping. I'm not a morning person. And she comes and she's like, Ryan, wake up, look at TikTok. And I look, and I'd put Salt, Lime, and Tequila up on TikTok the evening before, and it had 1 million views overnight, then 2 million, then 3 million, then 6 million. And it just connected. It was like, when we wrote that song, we wrote it in the middle of the pandemic on Zoom. And the reason we wrote it is because I had just walked upstairs and my children were screaming downstairs, and the tension in our house was on another level, and we had hit our pandemic moment. And so they said, what do you want to write? And I was like, I don't know, something just to make my kids stop screaming and for us to have a little bit of relief for 3 minutes. And so I said, just something to take life with a grain of salt kind of feel. And then the other writer said lime, and the other writer said tequila. And we laughed, and we're like, wait a second. We were like, that's a song right there. And then the best ones always fall out real quick. We wrote that song in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And it's changed my life. It's been the little song that could. And y'all were some of the first ones, if not the first ones, to jump on it. So thank you so much. And thank you for continuing to show this Florida boy some love. If you guys know it, sing along. Sally, feel free. Come on, girl. It's called Salt, Lime, and Tequila. Boys lost that game on Sunday. Gotta work a double on Monday. I wish that stack of bills would go on and pay themselves. And that glass looks half empty. I fill it up, don't let it get me down. If I know one thing, you gotta take it all with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila, it all gets to fading with one. Yeah, 2, maybe 3 margaritas. Throw 'em back and watch 'em wash all your worries away. At the end of the day, all you gotta do is take life with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila. Ain't much worth stressing over. Let it roll right off your shoulder. Time flies and life is short, so why not have one more with a dash on the rim? Pour it strong, mix it in. When it don't go your way, take it all with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila, it all gets to fading with one. Yeah, 2, maybe 3 margaritas. Throw 'em back and watch 'em wash all your worries away. At the end of the day, all you gotta do is take life with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila, yeah. Just a dash on the rim, pour it strong, mix it in. Yeah, you know what they say, take it all with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila, it all gets to fading with one, 2, maybe 3 margaritas. Throw 'em back and watch 'em wash all your worries away. At the end of the day, all you gotta do is take life with a grain of salt. Yeah, lime and tequila, yeah. I said salt, yeah, lime and tequila, yeah. Tequila. Guys, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for watching. And seriously, go chase your dreams. Go figure out what makes you happy, and just crush it. Don't give up, y'all. It's worth it in the end. So again, thank you guys so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. And give it up for Tommy over here.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah.
It's just